Calculus is a branch of mathematics that studies the relationship between changes in quantities. It is from the Latin word small stone. And the major areas of calculus are limit, differentiation, and integration. Of course, applications being the applications of differentiation and applications of integration. What is limit? Sometimes we can't figure out something. We try to imagine what it will be as we move closer and closer, as we approach. Okay? Meanwhile, differentiation is a branch of calculus that studies the rate of change, how a quantity changes with another. It studies gradient, dy over ds, slope, change in y over change in s. How does this change with respect to that? For example, how does velocity change with respect to time? All these are covered under differentiation. Since calculus is from the Latin word small stone, breaking the stone down, cutting the stone, integration is anti-differentiation. It is the converse, the reverse of differentiation. So it is to build up, to join. Yeah, in this class, I'll be taking you through differentiation. Differentiation is a branch of calculus that allows us to find the rate of change of a function or slope. Remember, I said that calculus is a branch of mathematics that studies how things change, and the major areas of calculus are limit of a function, differentiation, and integration. I've released a video on that limit. I'll share a link to that. Make sure you check out that video because it's a requirement for this class and other things we shall be studying in calculus. I also mentioned that calculus is from the Latin word small stone. If this is understood, therefore, differentiation cuts the stone into smaller pieces to find out what it is made up of, while integration joins the stone to find out or to see how it builds up. Take differentiation this way. When you differentiate a fowl, you get an egg. So to break down fowl, analyze fowl, where is this thing coming from? While integration on the other side, take a look at an egg. Integrate an egg, build up an egg. What do you get? You get the fowl, because once the egg hatches, it forms a fowl or whatever you choose to call it. That is the concept. Let me give you another example. You are a dad, not at home. Then your kids, they scatter everything at home. They bring tea, they pour everything, scatter this, scatter that. So let's call that differentiation. They've broken down everything in the house, scattered it. The moment they hear that you are coming, one of them tells another, Daddy is coming, no. They try to arrange things back. So to get what you've differentiated, you integrate. So integration is the converse of differentiation. If you have s, let's say y is equals s. When you differentiate this, you get dy over ds is equals 1. That is the differentiation of the function s. How about you have this 1 and I said change it back to what it was? What do? You integrate. You integrate 1, so this gives you s back. You've gotten back what you have differentiated. So that is enough introduction. What else do you need to know under differentiation itself? Because integration is for a separate video. Look at something. If you are used to graph, or I'm sure you are used to graph, or you might have seen graphs. You see maybe something like this, graph sheet, and you see it is cut into smaller parts to have a various centimeter for your scaling. Then you have your y-axis, you have your s-axis. So also we have negative s-axis and negative y-axis. But let's take a look at here. Then you begin to have points in the graph. So a straight line graph. So let's say this is 0. Here, not starting from origin. Then you plot this way. A straight line. Question number 1 says, find the slope of the graph. It's a very common question. To look for the slope, you simply say, okay, this is y, this is s. So let me cut from any part. You say, okay, let me pick here and here. Let's say this exactly this point. When you trace down, this becomes your S2, meaning the second value of S. This becomes your S1, meaning the first value of S. Then when you trace from here down, this becomes your Y1, the first value of Y. Here becomes your Y2. So slope or gradient, you can say M, is equals change in Y over change in S. And what is change in Y? Change in Y is simply Y2 minus Y1. Y change in S is simply S2 minus S1. So change in Y over change in S, this is the same thing as dy over ds. And this is differentiation or derivative. The rate of change of a function or the slope. Yeah, alright. The next thing is methods of differentiation. What are the methods of differentiation? The first one is by first principle. The second one is by direct differentiation or using differentiation rules. So the methods of differentiation are differentiation using first principle and differentiation using differentiation rules. Differentiation using first principle is also referred to as the delta method, and it follows the original definition of differentiation, which is the rate of change or slope of a function. Now, why is it called delta method? We use delta like this. Delta represents change. If I say delta y, it means change in y. If I say delta s, it means change in s. And what is change in y? Change in y means new value of y minus initial value of y. If new value of y is y2, then initial value of y is y1. So this is change in y. So y change in s is equals s2 minus s1. So for theory exams, you may be required to derive the formula for differentiation using first principle, or you may be given questions and asked to solve or to differentiate using first principle. Look at something, how it all came about. Remember, earlier in this video, I drew a graph. I told you that for every graph, we have the y-axis and we have the s-axis. So, y, s-axis, positive s-axis, positive y-axis, negative y-axis, negative s-axis. And I also said that if you have something like this, as these are points in the graph, and you are asked to look for the slope, you simply join 2 points. Joining the point, when you trace here down, you have the first value of s. Trace here down, you have the second value of s. Or let's say something like this. Here you have 0, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So let's say here you have 0, minus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here to here is simply your change in s, and it is this second value of s minus this first value of s, which is 12 minus 4. That should be 8. Then here to here, which is here to here, is your change in y, which is y2 minus y1. y2 is simply the newer value of y, or from here, this value of y at this second point, so which is 5, and y1 is simply the value of y at the first point we picked, which is 2. So here is 3, here is 8. So the slope is simply change in y over change in s, which is y2 minus y1 over s2 minus s1, which is equals 3 over 8. Now look at something. From this idea, if y is equals function of s and s increases, that change is simply referred to as change in s. So if s increases by change in s, this means y will also increase by change in y. So call this equation 1. If y increases by change in y, this is simply y plus change in y. If I say, John, you've added though, this is simply John of before, John of now. So call this y. You call this y plus change in y. This is the John I knew before plus the changes. This is John I knew before. So we can say this is John I knew before, y. This is the change in y. So this 2 here to here makes up y plus change in y, the new John. So if we increase y by change in y, we also increase s by change in s. So this gives us equation 2. Let's say equation 2 minus equation 1. This will be y plus change in y minus y. That will obviously give us, let's say, y plus change in y minus y. This is already this. Y minus y to give us change in y is equals this and this. They are not like terms. So we have function of s plus change in s minus function of s. So take a look at it. Check if you understand up to this point. To work out the rate of change, we divide both sides by ds. So here becomes change in s, rather change in y over change in s. Here becomes change in s. So let's reduce change in y so that it approaches 0 and change in s so that it approaches 0. This means change in y becomes dy and change in s becomes ds. This means we are arriving at differentiation to have dy over ds is equal to function of s plus ds over ds. Now something else, using ds or change in s and change in s, some persons find it confusing. In that case, from here let's change in s or ds to h and dy to g to give us something like this. G over h is equals function of s plus h minus function of s over h. To the nearest approximation, or to find out the limit, we simply have that dy over ds is equals the limit of function of s plus h minus function of s over h as h tends to 0. So this is the formula for integration by first principle. You may be wondering, how does this change the price of garri in the market? How do we use this to even solve? It is very easy. Look at this. If I say solve y is equals s squared using first principle, y is equals s squared, right? So the function of s is simply s squared. This is function of s squared. And from the formula, dy over ds is equals the limit as h tends to 0, function of s plus h minus function of s over h. Why I was discussing limit, I told you that h tends to 0 is different from h is equals 0. So if you are saying you are tending towards the wrong side, it means you are not in the wrong side yet, but you are going close and close. So what happens as you go close and close? So to look for limit, we reduce this to the lowest term. This is the reason for introducing limit. And given that as function of s is equals s squared, you replace this with s squared. And here, this is function of s plus h, you also square it as well. So you add 2 here. Then here becomes s squared. That is the whole idea. So any function of s you are given, you replace, you put it here, then here you add the power. If here were to be s raised to the power of 3, here will be s plus h raised to the power of 3, here will be s raised to the power of 3. So this will give us equals dy ds remains limit as h tends to 0. This is s plus h square minus, this is now s plus h square. Function of s is now s squared, so over h. This is the same thing as the limit as h tends to 0, s plus h minus s squared over h. So in limit, we try to simplify to the lowest term before we substitute h equals 0. Because if you substitute now, you may get 0 over 0 or value you don't need, or the right value as well. So this is s times s, s squared, plus s times h, sh, plus h times s, sh, plus h times h, h squared minus s squared over h. So limit h tends to 0. So this is s squared minus s squared is 0. This already cancels this. sh plus sh, that is 2sh plus h squared all over h. This is the same thing as, we can factorize. H and h are common here. So we have h 2s plus h over h. When you expand this, you have 2sh plus h squared. So this, we are left with 2s plus h. So dy over ds is equals 2s plus h. Limit as h tends to 0. So as h tends to 0, let's reduce this to 0. This becomes 2s plus 0, which is equals 2s. So to differentiate s squared, you have 2s by first principle. So most times, you don't need to do all this to differentiate. We simply use the standard differentials or standard differentiation. So when you see s squared, you already know that it is 2s. When you see 1, you know that the differentiation is 0 of constant is 0. When you see s raised to the power of 3, you know that it is 3s squared. That is the differentiation. So all these things are covered under standard differentiation, and this is what you need to do a lot of things in differentiation. This is for theory exams and when required. So now let's see the standard differentiations. Alright, I hope you've been following so far. Please do. And if you have any question, don't fail to ask me using the comment box. Now we are in standard derivatives. These are common functions. So these are the standard form of the differentiation. Instead of following differentiation by first principle, standard derivative. So which are by direct differentiation or differentiation using differentiation rules. For direct differentiation, if you are given any constant, the differentiation of constant is 0. So if a function is a constant, when you differentiate a constant, you have 0. For example, if I give you 5, 6, 10, if I say find the derivative of 5, it is simply equals 0. If you differentiate 6, you get 0. If you differentiate 10, you get 0. 100, 1000. So any numbers, the differentiation is equals 0. While for lines like s, when you differentiate s, you get 1. So if I say y is equals s, find dy over dx, or differentiate s. When you differentiate s, it is simply equals 1. How did we arrive at this? To differentiate algebraic functions like s, we use this. S is the same thing as s raised to the power of 1. We use 1 to multiply s and subtract 1 from the power. So that gives you 1 times s, then 1 already here, subtracting 1 from the power. 1 times s is s, 1 minus 1 is 0. So any meaningful number in mathematics raised to the power of 0 is 1. So this is why when you differentiate s, you get 1. And look at square. So when the function is a square, let's say y is equals s squared. What is dy ds? It is simply 2s. How? Like I told you, s squared, we use the power to multiply the function. 2 times s, we subtract 1 from the power. 2 minus 1. 2 times s is 2s, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is 2s. If I tell you differentiate s squared, you don't need to follow first principle or solve. It's a standard derivative. Simply say that when you differentiate s squared, you get 2s. When you differentiate s, you get 1. When you differentiate a constant, you get 0. And as means constant and s. If I say differentiate 2s, when you differentiate 2s, it is simply 2. If you differentiate 5s, you get 5. Differentiate the derivative of 100s is 100. So a number before s, when you differentiate, the s vanishes, leaving behind the number. How about a number before s squared? Example, 2s squared. This is simply using 2 to multiply everything, the power to multiply. 2 times 2s, subtracting 1 from the power. 2 minus 1. This is 2 times 2, 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So 4s raised to the power of 1, that is 4s. So if I say differentiate 2s squared, you use the power to multiply 2s to have 2 times 2, 4s, subtract 1 from the power to have 1 remaining. So 4s raised to the power of 1 is equals 4s. So far, if I say differentiate constant like 5, you get 0. When you differentiate s, you get 1. When you differentiate a constant with s, you get the constant. When you differentiate 1000s, you get 1000. 1s, you get s. Square, when you differentiate s squared, you get 2s. And how about square root? It follows the same pattern. From indices, you can follow my indices video. It says that when you have the square root of s, right, it is the same thing as s raised to the power of 1 over 2. Indices also said that when you have the cube root of s, it is the same thing as s raised to the power of 1 over 3. If you have fourth root of s, it is the same thing as s raised to the power of 1 over 4. So we are concerned about this. If this is true, to differentiate, we multiply by the power and subtract 1 from the power. That gives you 1 over 2 times s raised to the power of 1 over 2 minus 1. This is 1 over 2s. 1 over 2 minus 1 is the same thing as 1 over 2 minus 1 over 1. The LCM of 2 and 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, minus 2 divided by 1 is 2. 2 times 1, 2. 2. 1 minus 2 is minus 1, not 1, because this is smaller. So you have 1, you are owing 2. You pay 1, you still be owing 1. This is equals minus 1 over 2. So here is minus 1 over 2. That's how we arrived at this. When you differentiate square roots, you get 1 over 2 s raised to the power of minus 1 over 2. The next function is the exponential function. If you differentiate exponential, es, it remains the same. It won't change. So anytime you are giving exponential es to differentiate, it remains. Exponential es is equals exponential es. Exponential eas, example is, okay, as will give you ln a raised to the power s. So a remains, the raised to the power s remains. Exponential as is the same thing as exponential constant, let's say 5s. When you differentiate it, the constant comes down. So you have 5 exponential 5s. So if you still differentiate exponential 2s, 2 comes down to multiply the exponential to have 2 exponential 2s. So that is differentiation of exponential function. Remember, we are dealing with standard derivatives. How about logarithm? When you differentiate ln s, you get 1 over s. So if I give you ln s and ask you to differentiate, you get 1 over s. If I give you log as to differentiate, you have 1 over s ln a, where a is a constant, like 5, 3, 4, 6. These are constants, numbers. While for trigonometric functions, if I say differentiate cos s, when you differentiate sin s, you get cos s. That is it. When you differentiate sin s, the answer is cos s. When you differentiate cos s, the answer is minus sin s. When you differentiate sin s, you get sec square s. So these are standard derivatives. If I say differentiate cos s, you tell me that the answer is minus sin s. So remember, I told you earlier that integration is the opposite of differentiation. This means when you integrate a constant, you get, when you integrate 0, like when you integrate a normal number, you get s. If I give you 1, you integrate, you get s. When you integrate a constant, you get as. If you integrate 2s, you get s squared. If you integrate this, you get this. If you integrate this, you get this. So to get what you differentiated back, you integrate. So these are the standard derivatives that you should know. What else? See, these are standard derivatives. Question will come whereby this will be combined. For example, you have something like, okay, s and trig. So s sin s. How do you differentiate this? Or you have s sin s plus s squared plus exponential s or exponential 2s. In this case, or minus 5. So you have sum and difference. This means you have a lot of standard integrals, but this time they are combined. In this case, here they are product, they are multiplying. In this case, they are adding up. Sometimes you can have s cos s over s squared. In this case, they are dividing. This time around, we begin to use differentiation techniques. And the top techniques we shall be dealing with are sum and difference. When you are adding or subtracting in differentiation. Why product rule is when functions multiply, how do you solve them? That is treated under product rule. Why quotient rule is for things like this, division. S cos s over s squared, you can't just use standard derivatives. There are special rules to do it. Okay? When you begin to hear v du ds minus u dv ds over v squared, different things like that. Why function of a function is when a function has another function. Your mom is putting you at the back, you now you are putting another person at your back. You see, how do we solve things like that? And another one is higher derivatives. For example, if you are saying s raised to the power of 3, when you differentiate, you get 3s squared. This times this, 1 from the power, right? This is dy, let's say y is equal to this. This is dy over ds is equals to this. How about I say, find, if I give you this, and I say find d square y over dy square. This is a higher derivative. It means differentiate 2 times. The answer will be, differentiating first time, we have 3s squared. You have to differentiate this again to have 6s. So this is d square y over dy, pardon, this is s, over bs squared. These are higher derivatives. If I say d cube y over ds cube, we are differentiating 3 times. So all these will be treated in separate lectures. Feel free to subscribe so that you don't miss out any of these videos. They will be treated in details with questions solved. These are the main things under differentiation, the core areas. Everything we've been doing so far are background of differentiation, basics, things you need to know, the essentials of differentiation. Now look at one more thing I would like you to know. We don't always differentiate with respect to s. If I give you y is equals 3t, s can be t, it can be m, it can be l, it can be z, so long as it's not a constant which is represented by a here. If I say differentiate 3t, 3t will give you 3. If I say differentiate t squared, it is 2t. So instead of s here, we can have other values, l, m, z, many variables that you can use. So don't think it has to be s, s, s. You see all these in the next classes. For example, if velocity, let's say v is equals 2t squared minus 2t plus 5. If this is velocity, because velocity changes with time, when you differentiate velocity, you get acceleration. So this will be dv over dt. We are differentiating velocity with respect to time. In this case, we are not even talking about y or s. This further proves that differentiation is not about s. S is just there to give you the standard. It can be other values where you can see t here. So dv dt is simply 4t minus 2. Here is 0. Differentiating here, you have 2, which is as. You have as. 2 times 2, 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is equals acceleration. When you differentiate velocity, you get acceleration. And when you integrate acceleration, you get velocity. So that is it for this class. Don't forget to subscribe and don't miss out my other videos. You can check out my already released videos and feel free to check out my videos on other topics. Thank you. You are the best. See you next time.